welcome to the Bad Friends Podcast, episode 15. My name's Tomas Murphy, and he's Connor Keneally. You know the drill by now.
15 episodes into this now.
Yep.
This
Consistently getting how many views? I don't know, 40 something.
30, 40. Not too bad. We're doing pretty good, guys.
It's pretty good.
This is all thanks to your continued support. Thank you.
Not gonna lie, I am really tired.
I can tell. You sound it.
I just got home from the gym because I'm hench. No, I've kind of had, so have you, I suppose. We've kind of had a hectic couple, 7
Week.
days, 10 days.
Yeah, since Thursday last week, really.
Yeah, so we started school. Oh my god, excuse me. We started school on Thursday, the 29th of August.
Yeah.
And it's currently Friday, the 6th of September. So,
Expect a lot more school.
I'm really tired. Yeah. So, for example, the Tuesday night before I went back to school, I stayed awake till probably 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Just in bed. And I got up at 1 p.m. And then I went from that to going to sleep at trying to go to sleep at 11:30 and waking up at 7:30.
Yeah.
So it was just a huge
shock to the system.
Leap. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention out this week we were in TY last year, which I did enjoy TY, and it's not as everyone calls it, a DOS year, but
yeah, it's just you work a different kind of way in TY.
Yeah.
TY is a lot more practical work.
It's just a bit more relaxed than, fifth year. So obviously we're in fifth year this year, and this week nobody, not even the teachers, seemed to have a bloody clue what was going on.
It was so
disjointed. Everything was disjointed this week.
Yeah. I suppose there's a honeymoon period or whatever.
Yeah.
For the first week, so I do expect it to get a lot harder from here.
Which is great.
Fantastic. Great. I got so stressed the day before yesterday.
Yeah.
Wednesday. I got so stressed about my leaving cert, which is in 2 years' time. Well, a year and a half time.
Yeah.
I got so stressed, I had a pain in my heart.
Yeah, you were saying that, alright. You were saying
I was more stressed.
Home, you were like, I should not be this stressed out.
Yeah, I was more stressed on Wednesday for my leaving cert, which is in a year and a half, than I was going into my junior cert.
Yeah. They've really laid it on thick this at the beginning of this year, of just everything that needs to be done, and all the books you need to buy now, and all the folders you need to keep, and everything has to be really organized, and
yeah.
Wow.
So we had an assembly at the start of the year on the first day.
Yeah.
And the principal was like, if you feel under pressure, good. You should be under pressure.
Oh,
so
I hated that.
I don't think that's a positive mental attitude, sir.
Our designated liaison person. If we have
in charge
any
of mental health for the whole school,
we are meant to go to you. If you feel stressed, good.
Good.
Too bad.
Feel more stressed.
Get
in
good.
Fact. Get pwned. You're just.
At least our English teacher, to some extent, kind of acknowledged. Well, my English teacher, not yours, because I'm in the elite.
Connor's in the elite English class, and I'm just in the regular higher level or fucking English class.
But
Because Connor got highest English mark in the school for his junior year.
social flex, thanks to most.
Bitch, nerd. I just found €2. Nice.
But I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, he said that a lot of students will end up feeling burnt out, especially at the end of fifth year.
Yep. Burnt out already.
Same.
7 days of school.
Actually, same. It's been how many? No, it's been 7 days
7,
of school, and
yeah.
I already feel finished.
I'm just ready for summer holidays.
Yeah, you came in on like Thursday and was like, I actually can't wait till Halloween.
Well, no, that's just because Halloween. I have some stuff like planned to do for Halloween, so I'm just looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not just because get out of school. I don't actually mind school. School is fine.
Yeah.
Like a lot of lads our age are like, fucking hate school. Do you want to drop out and be a carpenter or something? But like that's no offense to carpenters, or just lads who are like. But it's not like, I just want to be a carpenter. It's, I don't want to have to do these exams and I just want to go into some job straight away. Which, like, fair enough, but still.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a little tangent right at the start of the podcast.
Tangent just at the beginning of this episode of the podcast. But, yeah, so...
That's also why, by the way... Actually, no, it's not. We didn't have a podcast up last week because we recorded it and then the file corrupted.
Yeah.
I completely forget everything we spoke about, but sure.
I remember one topic. I remember the topic. I don't remember how we spoke about it though. But I want to use this as an excuse. So if any week there is not a podcast, it's probably because we're either busy or I haven't gotten around to editing it yet.
Yeah, so, like, apologies for that.
But also, calm down.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of podcasts on YouTube better than this one. No, there's not. This is the best podcast.
This is the only podcast on YouTube. It's a Bad Friends podcast.
Speaking of podcasts, actually, no, I won't talk about that yet, because that's not sorted out yet.
Okay.
But there is, like, Connor knows what I'm talking about. He sent me a thing during the week.
Oh, yeah.
Like yesterday.
It's just
that's, okay. So, during the week, or like yesterday or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the guys who listens to the podcast said to me in school, he said, "Oh yeah, last week you were saying something about like a surprise for the podcast. What is that?" So I told him what it is, because it's not actually a big surprise.
Yeah,
we kind of we built it up. We built it up a little bit, and he was like, "That's a shit surprise." And then Connor sent me a thing last night, and I was like, "That would be a very good surprise."
Yeah.
So maybe
there's something in the works. If I can get it over the line, we'll keep you up to date. Follow our Twitter. We'll figure it out. Join our
follow our Twitter. Yeah. We might tell you next week.
Yeah.
Or next podcast or whatever. So, let's get into the
actual topics.
The meat of the podcast.
Screw it.
You have a topic that I don't know what you mean about it. Oh, I do know what you mean about it. But you can talk about it because you're clearly more educated on it.
I'm not really. I think it's my second topic, isn't it?
No, your first topic.
Oh, my first. Oh, that one.
I know about your second topic.
Okay. Well. Okay, so.
Connor only has 2 topics.
Yeah. So do you.
So do I. We already spoke about one of them.
So this is gonna be. I mean, this is kind of football related, so I know that's not really our target demographic. I say football because I know we have English viewers. I would say soccer, but
just call it soccer. Don't be fucking
hung, drawn, and quartered by young Marley Swarbs if he ever hears this.
Connor, don't be a dirty. Bruh. Can you bleep that?
People are gonna be even more suspicious then.
I don't care, but like, if you bleep it, then there's nothing against me.
Fine.
Thanks.
But Yeah, I mean one of them has been sorted out now. I forgot to alter my topics, but there's two football teams in England, Bury FC and Bolton Wanderers, and they've both got into administration due to having really bad owners who have just not put the money in, and as a result, players aren't being paid, players are then going on strike, players are just leaving the club, and then they have to put the under 17s on. That's what Bolton Wanderers had to do anyway. They had to put on the under 17 team to play an actual league game, or else would have had to forfeit all their games. They've also
Sounds
all
good.
had points deductions. So they're already on like minus 12 points at the beginning of the league, which
Okay.
doesn't help anyway. And Bury have now been expelled from the English footballing system
What is that?
because just had no owners. They had no owners or anyone giving money into the team at all. And
So now what? The club is just like not allowed to play in any league matches.
It's basically dead. They can't play any like EFL English Football League games.
Yeah, I understood. So what does that mean for like? Because surely like Bury FC is somebody's like local club.
Yeah, it is. They had like I think it was like 5,000 capacity stadium. Like they're not a big team by any chance, but they're still a local club with its own set fan base. But yeah, for now they don't have any games to go to on the weekends. They can maybe reapply if they were to get new owners for next season, but they'd have to start off from the very bottom again.
Okay.
The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because their owner is quite possibly... I hate him. I've heard him speak once, and I already hate him. Steve Dale, that's his name. He...
Don't trust a man with two first names.
So...
That's just a good rule in life.
So, he took over the club.
That's Tom, by the way. Tom kind of gets away with it.
Which he took over the club when they were already in a bad way. Like they were in debt, and he made it worse. And then he sold the club to a London company called CNN Sporting Risk, and they weren't able to help. They sold out, and then the club went extinct. But I'm trying to find the exact wording for what he said, but he basically says that he didn't even know that there was a football team in Bury while he owned them.
Wow, what a classy guy.
Yeah. He has like he was on BBC Radio. Now a lot of fans are mourning the club because it was one of the oldest teams in England. It's 125 years old, and obviously there must have been a lot of tradition coming down through like the local area. It should be a bit like if I was about to say a bit like if Galway United just vanished, but who knows about them really. But yeah, it was because the CNN Sporting Risk, that company that offered to buy it, the whole deal collapsed. They just were like, nah, didn't even pay, and then the club just fell apart. But he went on an interview on BBC Radio Live and said that he didn't even know there was a football club in Bury, that he doesn't even like the sport anyway, and that the fans are too busy being full of beer.
Well, like...
Why'd you buy the club then?
Yeah.
I've never been to Bury, Dale admitted during the programme. It's not a place I frequented. So for me to walk away from Bury and never go back is a very easy thing to do. I didn't do anything up there. I didn't even know there was a football team called Bury, to be honest with you. I'm not a football fan. I think it's fantastic that they're passionate, but what they need to do is temper it and not be silly, and not show themselves up by disgraceful behaviour and discredit the club.
And he owns them.
He owns them. Or did, anyway.
What the fuck?
Discredit the club when he's the one that put them in the position where they would go bankrupt and not be able to pay wages and have to be expelled from the league. And the weird thing is, Bolton, the team I was mentioning earlier, they had they were so close to just vanishing as well, except they were given an extra week of a deadline. Or was it 2 weeks? I think it was 2 weeks. And I think it was a Chinese outfit or something. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Football Ventures. I remember there was a Chinese company that was coming in to try and buy them. But some team bought in Bolton, and as a result, they have just been saved. Have just been boosted up enough just to stay afloat. They're allowed to stay in the league. They would more than likely be relegated. But
at least they could still.
They were a bigger team. They were playing in Europe.
Yeah, Bolton were like a fairly well-known team.
Yeah.
But like, it's such a shame to see, like, especially in England, because I assume in England, well, no, soccer is the biggest sport in England, like.
Yeah.
So there'd be more, a lot more local soccer teams than there would be local rugby teams or whatever, cricket, golf, I don't know. I don't know what they do in England.
Yeah.
So it would be similar to Gaelic football, in Ireland.
Yeah.
So if like the local GAA club shut down, there'd be, probably hundreds of people affected by that. With different age ranges and things like that,
Yeah.
So that's let's say 200 people affected directly. So let's say 200 people playing for the club from every age range.
Yeah.
There'd probably be more, but let's just say. So there'll be 200 people who would either, a lot of them would just stop playing soccer because they have no local club.
Yeah.
A lot of them would move to the next nearest club, which could be like a while away, but they still, they'd have to go, they'd have to, commute, every week.
Just to play.
Yeah. And that's just like, because sport is such a huge part of community. It's such a huge community thing.
Oh, yeah. It's probably like a tradition with how old that club Bury is.
Yeah.
And for it just to be mushed, gone, no more club for you guys anymore. Nothing for you to do with your weekends now.
Yeah, it's a shame.
All because of one goddamn boomer.
Yeah, fucking don't even get me started. Okay, well, let's move on.
I was about to say, speaking of boomers, and move into a topic we covered last week on the corrupted footage. Should we get into that now while we're on kind of
Which one is that?
the rainforest?
Oh, fucking. I'm so tired from school that I haven't even thought about it all week.
I know, you were like last week. Okay. On the footage that corrupted, me and Tomas were basically we're having a conversation about the Amazon, which is, I think it's still in flames. And
I think it is.
We basically spent the first 20 minutes of the podcast that we had recorded having a full-blown existential crisis. That's... Oh, to be fair, we're kind of right to, because we're all going to die. Like,
Yeah.
um,
We're all fucked.
so was it like 20% of the world's oxygen the Amazon makes?
The Amazon produces 20% of all the oxygen on Earth.
Yeah.
So, why don't we just burn it down?
We need more room
I
for
see.
cows, so let's just burn down the one thing that creates 20% of what is the
Needs
only
to
reason
survive.
we are able to survive on this planet. Well, that and water. Like,
And distance from the sun, actually.
oh, shut up.
It's called the Goldilocks ratio, Connor.
Shut up.
You mentioned cows, right?
Yeah.
They're burning down the Amazon on purpose to make space for agricultural reasons. The main reason being farms for cattle. And people are like, we gotta boycott beef. Then the Amazon will not be on fire anymore. No. First of all, that's not true. Like, if you just stop eating steak, the Amazon will still be burnt down.
There'll just be more
those
steak
trees aren't gonna come
going
back.
to waste.
Yeah, those cows are still going to be reared. And, our science teacher said it this week, Connor. She was like, she mentioned it like the first day or whatever. She was like, I think everyone should just cut out meat and we'll save the Amazon. And I got really mad. I got very quietly angry. I was like, no, that's not gonna fucking work. That's not gonna fucking work. It's not going to fucking work. Because let's say, not even a 100th, 1,000th of the world's population is going to cut out eating meat.
Yeah.
To save the Amazon. Nowhere near. I'd say
maybe
maybe 1 million people might stop worldwide, might stop eating meat. Right? How? Okay. Another thing just came to my mind. Most of the meat eaten in Ireland is Irish.
Yeah.
So how are Irish people stop not eating meat going to stop cows being grown, farmed in fucking Brazil?
It isn't.
It's not. It's not going to help. So, maybe if Brazilians stopped eating beef, and wherever
South America,
that meat gets shipped to, maybe those countries should focus on not eating meat. The rest of us can, carry on our normal diets. But the thing is, the Amazon,
yeah,
as part of a greater picture, it is very important, and it is terrible. It's horrendous that it's on fire.
Yeah.
But there's not really much we can do about that now, because it's kind of done. It's on fire. We can put out the fire. The damage will still be done.
Yeah.
What we should be focusing on now because so much time has passed since the fire started, is big corporations who still refuse to clean up their carbon footprint.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's gone past the point now of your average Joe turning off the lights when he leaves the room or not spending too long in a hot shower.
Yeah, it's not down to the individuals anymore.
Me spending 6 minutes in the shower is not going to cause more damage than what's already been done by these massive agricultural companies.
It's not even agricultural.
Industrial at this point.
Industrial. Yeah, it's huge corporations.
Yeah, who are able to just get away with it now.
Yeah, these corporations that don't pay tax, and also, so they have all this money, so they just burn oil to power their expensive cars.
Yeah.
So, also another thing that happened in the past 2 weeks, speaking of the Amazon, the world leaders, they met up and they're like, "We'll give you $20 million to put out that fire." And your man, the president of
Brazil.
Brazil, was like, "No," because he's like, I think he's like pretty right wing or something, and he's kind of
He
against.
was one of the people who condoned.
He's very pro the fires.
Yeah.
And then $20 million. Guess what that's going to do? Here's what it's going to do. Fuck all. Budgets for movies are more than $20 million.
No, I've just googled it there because I saw a meme made of this, but it's.
I saw the Emoji Movie one.
Yeah, that's what I've just pulled up. The Emoji Movie budget was $50 million US.
I just looked up budgets into Google, and the first thing is budgets are sexy.
They gave less than half of an Emoji Movie to stop the lungs of this planet burning.
Yep.
You're seriously telling me that the most powerful countries on the planet couldn't have cobbled together more than 20 million?
Right. Okay. Here's a list of. There's so many. I just looked up like budgets. There's so much money goes into movies.
Yeah.
For example, the highest production budget for any movie ever is Avatar, $425 million.
Think of how much they could have done. Think about how much they could have done. I know, don't get me wrong, okay, I adore film as a medium. Okay, I'm not going to instantly be like, we should cancel movies and put all the money towards the Amazon. I'm not saying that.
21.25 times the amount of money to save the Earth was put into a movie about some blue people.
Yeah.
21 and a quarter times the amount of money.
Yep.
That's insane.
Fantastic.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, the G7 were the ones who offered the 22 million in aid to Brazil. Now, don't get me wrong. The thing is with aid is that they definitely could have put strings in of in
it could have been a lot.
You have to pay us back 11 million of this 22 million or something like that. But seriously, they're called G7 because it's an international intergovernmental economic organization consisting of the 7 largest advanced economies in the world: France, USA, Japan, Canada, the UK, Italy, and Germany. And you couldn't cobble together more than 22 million.
Donald Trump alone is worth several $billion.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's not going to do anything about it. The fucking prick. You know, we don't get political here.
Like, he just won't do anything.
We're not a political podcast, and we don't, we present ourselves as neutral. But I'm saying it now. He's a bollocks. If we're going to have a political debate ever on the podcast, we will try and stay neutral. Even though it will be very difficult to play devil's advocate for that guy, seeing as how he is the devil himself. But,
For him
it stresses me out.
Global warming is a myth.
It stresses me out because I know there's nothing I can do about it.
Oh, yeah.
I can go to the protests and I can sign up and I can recycle and I can, turn off lights and showers, take short showers. That's not doing a lot. That's not doing enough.
It's doing your part.
It's doing my part. But it's gotten to the point where my part isn't enough.
No, it isn't.
And it's not my fault. And it's not your fault.
It's the fault of the most powerful man in the world still thinking global warming is a myth.
Yep.
The man who could pretty much on his own, if he wanted to, turn the tide.
He could
wanted to.
100%. He could end every single problem on Earth, even without being the president of America. He has so much money.
Yeah.
He is worth whatever. What's his net worth?
Let me Google this. Donald Trump net worth. The net worth of Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, is approximately $3.1 billion US dollars.
And look up how much money it would take to end world hunger.
How much money would it?
Because I read something during the week about someone.
It would take,
the amount of people. It's less than $1 billion, I think.
The cost to end world hunger, 30 billion per year.
Oh.
Is the amount needed to end world hunger. But at the same time, 737 billion per year is the same amount of money that Congress in America spends on defense.
700 billion.
737 billion.
And it'd take how much? 30-something billion per year to end world hunger.
Just 30 billion a year to end world hunger.
So, America, if you're listening,
Donald, loyal viewer,
the Donald. How many wars are the US in at the moment? 2?
No.
1?
All of them. What war aren't America involved in?
There aren't in any civil wars, as far as I know. Unless, I don't know. They're not in a lot of wars. Maybe 2. Possibly 1. Probably 1. Possibly 2.
Yeah.
They have a huge military with, I don't know the facts about the military in America, but I'm pretty sure that they could shave off a little bit of that budget. Just maybe a couple $100 billion.
Why not round it out to just 700 billion and leave over the other 37 to ending world hunger?
Yeah.
There you go.
Just
then you
do
got
that.
7 million surplus for, I don't know, the Amazon.
For, I don't know, climate change.
I can... Okay, I know...
It's the same as what we were... It's like what when we were talking about the Notre Dame. I mean...
Oh, yeah.
Like, you do understand why that much money is being put into something not as important. But it is still frustrating.
But I know we said we wouldn't play devil's advocate for Donald Trump, but I can sort of see in his twisted, insane brain why he would not care or think it's global warming is a myth. 2 reasons, really. 1, he's a boomer. So
he is pre-boomer, man. He's in the 70s.
73. Actually, he is pre-boomer. And 2,
he is what, Generation Y or something, whatever they're called.
Yeah. 2, he will be dead by the time it fully ends up
affects him,
destroying the world. Well, here's
that's
the
why
thing. We won't be.
Well, we will be, because it'll kill us.
I suppose.
I mean, I said this, like, when we recorded last week, I said this, but, like, it's just not fair, is it, on us?
No.
The fact that we don't get to live. I mean, we are being very pessimistic about this. We probably won't die. But there's a very high chance that we will die. Because have you seen that map of what Europe will look like if all the ice caps melt?
No. Let me Google it.
I'll just tell you, for Ireland, which is like the only place that I was looking at, well, actually, all of Holland disappears. That whole country is gone.
Oh, yeah, because that's all just from the sea anyway.
That's very low land anyways, that they reclaimed from the sea.
Yeah.
Ireland, pretty much the whole west of Ireland is gone.
Great.
Which is where we live.
Yep.
A lot of the north, a lot of the south.
So it's
The east
Dublin.
coast is pretty much fine, from like Louth down to Wexford. It's pretty much fine, and then into like the Midlands. So we're pretty much getting rid of 3/4 of the country.
Including where we live.
Yeah. So either we all have to buy boats, or we all have to move to Dublin, which is already crazily overcrowded. So I'm not liking my chances.
And we're getting there because I know we said this when like Notre Dame was happening, and we were saying, oh, it's all going to fall on our generation or whatever because there's 11 years to reverse climate change. And we were panicking then because we were like, that is not a long amount of time. Apparently now it's 17 months.
Yep. Before I shouldn't be stressed about my leaving cert, because I'll be dead before it happens.
Me and Tomas will be 18 and 6 months. We will not have completed our leaving cert by the time it'll become irreversible. Apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get us wrong, this is all a lot of he said, she said.
Yeah, none of this is backed scientifically. As far as we're reading it, this is us reading it from the media to you.
Yeah.
So we don't know. But
if it is,
there's a fairly high chance. So,
as much as we'd love to say, do your part and we can do this.
Do your part. Do your part. No matter what. But also, do more. Do enough and then do more. You know? Just do everything you can.
That's pessimistic, but
let's talk about probably the biggest thing that came out of the news this week. Not the news, fucking probably more important things happened in the news. For example, there's a whole Brexit. Did you hear about the whole thing with Brexit?
Where Big Boz is like, hey, get out my party.
Boz was like, let's hold a general election. No, he wasn't.
No, the people were like, don't hold a general election. But then the people were like,
the people were like, Boz, hold a general election. He was like, nah, man, I'm just going to ask for more time. I think. No, he didn't want more time.
No, he wants to know.
So the general election was going to be to send someone that's not Boris Johnson to Brussels whenever, in October sometime, to ask for more time, because right now it's looking like there's going to be a no-deal Brexit. Boris Johnson was like, nuh-uh, sister. We're leaving the EU on the 31st of October, no matter what. Which is bad. So, basically, what happened was, he won the vote. So there's not going to be a general election. There's a vote in Parliament to whether or not there would be a general election. And everyone's like, oh yeah, it looks like there was going to be an election. And then there's not going to be an election.
Because the Tories are...
Because everybody hates Tories.
Yeah.
But Tories are... there's a lot of Tories around the place.
But then the Boris Johnson decided anyone who didn't side with him
has to leave.
Yeah.
His party. They don't have to leave government. Including his own brother. His own brother resigned as an MP because he was torn. He was torn between family loyalty and the good of the country, which, read between the lines there, he thinks that his brother is insane and going to destroy the country. So,
do what's best for the country or work for his
or
brother. So he's
you know.
indirectly said, my brother is doing what is not best for the country.
So we're not gonna talk. I don't know a lot about that. That's kind of all I know about the situation, and that's worrying me as well. But not really, because I'm not from Britain. Thank God.
Lol.
One thing that did come in the that did was in the news actually about it said there was a report about what would be affected in Ireland by Britain leaving with a no deal and like a hard border and all that
Yeah.
shit. And one of the big things was bread, because apparently we get a lot of our bread from England. Even though I only eat Brennan's bread. Today's bread today.
By Irish.
This
Brennan's
episode
bread.
was brought to you. No.
By Brennan's bread.
Brennan's bread. If anyone's listening, please hit us up. I would love to get a sponsor from Brennan's.
That would be amazing.
That would be crazy. Or like Avonmore. Anyways, let's not think about that.
Let's not talk about politics anymore.
Let's talk
KSI
about
versus Logan
entertainment news. KSI versus Logan Paul 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. It's been confirmed. November 9th. KSI will be fighting Logan Paul in LA
In the Staples Center.
on Sky Sports. They've gone professional, baby. No headguards. There's definitely, I'm saying it now, one of them is going to get knocked out.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be not like a technical, not like a TKO. One of them is going to be unconscious.
Oh, like...
I hope so.
But here's the thing for me. I know I mentioned... I want to save this for the podcast, but I mentioned this to you earlier on the week that
Yeah.
I am seriously considering buying the pay-per-view. Purely because I'm interested to watch KSI versus Logan Paul. But
How much is it, by the way?
I haven't a clue. I don't know yet. Actually, let me Google it. How much is KSI versus Logan Paul 2? Okay, cool. It's not coming up. Alright. But I know that on the DAZN app, the thing for America, it's like you could get a free trial and watch it for free.
Ooh.
If you were in America. But
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
the tickets haven't gone on sale yet. So I'm assuming that actually buying it has also not happened. But
Okay.
I'm seriously considering buying, because I bought the last one and I watched that. And I enjoyed that show. I thought that show was really good because you were able to actually like both watch some decent fights. Which is, in fairness, not the reason why I bought the pay-per-view.
It was just to see KSI and Logan Paul fight.
See KSI versus Logan Paul actually fight, and to see what was the other thing I had in my head?
Deji and Jake.
No, to see just how insane the whole thing would be, like random fights, like Scarce getting in the ring, and Gibb versus Jay from TGF, and they just got in the ring and just started swinging for 9 minutes, and Shannon Briggs every 20 minutes shouting champ every 2 seconds. And it's just random stuff like that, which I think made it more interesting. And now Eddie Hearn, who is a big deal in boxing, I think is he Anthony Joshua's manager?
I don't know.
He does bookings for Anthony Joshua anyway, I think, for his fights. But he has gotten involved, which I think is a good call on his part, because he obviously saw it made a lot of money and he wants a cut of the cheddar. But the charitable cheddar, this episode's brought to you.
This episode is sponsored by every Irish corporation you can think of.
But I keep losing my train of thought. What was it? Oh yeah, he's also announced this week that there will be no celebrities or YouTubers allowed to fight in the undercard.
Because it's a pro fight.
Yes,
And
because they
he
would.
called it an ad for boxing.
Yeah.
I saw that on Twitter. He said that, like, oh, it's so great that we're getting in this new attentive audience from YouTube,
Yeah.
but we're not going to bring in any more audiences from YouTube. We're not going to widen that at all. Because, amateur fights aren't good for the sport of boxing. As if people don't like boxing.
Yeah.
People will watch any two people fight. I know I would anyways. I'd watch any boxing fight if you just turned it on in front of me. I would never actively go, oh, I would like to watch some boxing now.
But if you put it on,
I'd definitely watch it.
But because my whole thing, I'm not as big a boxing fan as I'm a YouTube fan. So when they linked the two, that was like, that's basically like the first full pay-per-view of boxing that I watched. The first full pay-per-view. I've watched fights, obviously, but I never sat down and watched a full pay-per-view of just constant boxing for 4 hours. But with KSI-Logan 2, I was like, I didn't think there was going to be as many on like undercard fights because it was being built up that one of what was his name? There was some pro fighter, I'm forgetting his name, and I feel like I'm being disrespectful. Billy Joe Saunders would be defending an actual world title on the undercard of KSI versus Logan Paul.
That's crazy.
And I think that is happening now because I thought, how are they going to go from YouTubers to actual world title boxing match to more YouTubers? But I found out that it's because they're going to do actual world championship level boxing to the main event being 2 YouTubers.
But saying that, I am expecting a huge standard of boxing from JJ and Logan.
Oh yeah,
I'm expecting a way better fight than the first round.
Yeah, like the first one wasn't bad, but you can see that after a year and 3 months, their levels would have obviously gone up. So I am expecting an actual good fight that can.
And JJ's packed on a lot of muscle.
Oh yeah,
he was very muscly before in the first fight. He was pretty shredded. Then he packed on a lot of weight. He bulked, and then he converted all of that weight into muscle, and he is at the moment. And it is huge. He is going to be huge. I haven't seen any of Logan's. If Logan's done any videos about the fight or whatever, I haven't seen any of them.
Had to change because I think he just kind of. I think JJ is just trying to go up to hit Logan's weight and size.
Yeah, because Logan's taller, isn't he?
Yeah, and he was.
Logan's taller, and he was heavier because he has a history in wrestling.
Yeah.
So he did naturally have the better fighting technique.
Yeah. And
training. He was used to training hard for fights, albeit, a different sport. But now JJ, Logan has kind of, he's kind of maintained the level of fitness. Maybe he's probably gone down a bit, but he has still maintained a good level of fitness throughout the year since the last fight. But JJ got unfit, got fat. Now he's converting all that fat into muscle, and he trains so hard, and gains muscle so easily.
Right, he went from. Well, I only remember thinking he's fat because Joe Wilder was kind of calling him fat, and so was Harry. But he was shredded a month later.
Yeah, literally, he trains so hard, and he's such a good training ethic.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously backing JJ for the fight. I obviously want JJ to win.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to tell very hard to guess who's going to win yet. because the fight was literally just announced this week.
Yeah, and it's
But
been
in a
year
couple of weeks'
since the
time,
first one.
in like maybe a month's time, when it's getting closer to the fight, it'll be very interesting to see who people think is going to win.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to hear True Geordie's say on it, because I don't know if they're commentating on this fight again.
I don't think they're.
They did a pretty shit job, in fairness, last time.
Well, that's
because they're used to commentating on soccer, obviously,
Yeah.
and boxing's completely different. But
I think the last time, I don't know, when you were talking last time, were you talking Joe Weller, JJ, or are you talking Logan?
Logan, JJ.
Yeah. Either way, they kind of were. But I think Geordie did a good job, but Lawrence is completely out of his element with boxing.
Yeah, Lawrence is used to talking about soccer or, True News or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think outside of commentary or like commentating on the fight, they do have some very interesting, Brian especially, some very interesting thoughts on it.
Yeah. And what I really like, especially about True Geordie, is even though you can obviously tell he's more swayed to support JJ, because JJ is actually a friend of his.
Yeah, does.
He'll still
play
say,
devil's advocate.
But what if this happens with Logan? And Logan was in great shape. Logan's great. Got a good jab. Like in the video he did after, like about a day after it was confirmed, he was like talking to Vidal, who trains JJ.
Who trains JJ?
He was like, "Oh, Logan's screwed," etc. But Geordie was like, "Yeah, but what if Logan does? What if Logan?"
He's a very good interviewer.
Yeah,
Brian. Especially when it's to do with something that he's passionate about, like boxing.
As well, he just won't like dance around a certain topic just to please whoever's on the podcast. Like,
yeah, he does. He asks uncomfortable questions.
Yeah, like if take like when he did one that I remember, because I remember it this well because it was before the last fight. But when he interviewed Logan, I wasn't sure if it was gonna be the regular podcast where he was just gonna ask whatever came to his mind that he thought would be a good thing to ask for the sake of the podcast, or if he was going to try to preserve the sort of relationship he has with Logan where he was actually allowed to commentate. But to be fair to him, he just went in. He would ask as many tough questions, and a lot of them were about Japan.
Yeah.
So I just like that about Jordan. Like, even when he's talking about KSI, or when he's talking about, I remember when the KSI Deji thing was happening, he's still meant to be mates with Deji. He'd still be like, Deji's just being an idiot here. Or if Joe Weller was doing something wrong, and he said before that he sees Joe Weller almost like a brother.
Yeah.
And he'd still be like, Joe, what are you doing?
Because I feel like all that kind of group of YouTubers that he's friends with, and he's friends with a lot of, kind of British YouTubers especially.
Yeah.
It is sort of like Geordie he's like the Keemstar of Britain, pretty much. Would I be right in saying that?
I'd say so, apart from the whole like falsely accusing people of everything. So I think
but like he's the
link.
He's the YouTube news. He's the British YouTube news source.
Yeah.
If I was to say, who do you think of when American YouTube news? If I was to say, think of someone from UK or from the American YouTube news scene, first person to come to here would be Keemstar.
Yeah.
But if I said it for Britain, it would be Geordie.
Yeah.
So everyone knows him as, he says it as it is.
And to be fair to him, at
even
least
if he does, if one of his friends is doing something crazy and he says it, everyone's like, that's his job. He's right. They respect him. He has such huge respect from everyone.
Oh yeah. Everyone likes him. Like because they know he's not a yes man to anyone. Unlike someone like that's why I was a bit kind of taken aback when, like, a few minutes ago when you were saying how you kind of linked it to Keemstar, because I think the thing that separates them the most is that Keemstar will market himself as the news and as unbiased.
Oh, but he is completely biased.
But
yeah,
he's so biased. But the thing is with
True
Jordy
Geordie is like
you can
what
tell he's
Keemstar
biased.
markets himself to be.
You can tell he's biased, but he'll also just say whatever comes to his mind.
It is that sort of kind of Big Brother
of the UK YouTube
Big
scene.
Brother figure, because if Geordie tells you to do something, you know that it's not so he has a good video. You know that it's so you still have a career at the end of the week.
Yeah.
You know it's that he is looking out for you. He does look out for all of his friends and everyone on YouTube that he knows.
Oh yeah, like he looks out for like he really looks out for XO.
Yeah, obviously.
If I had to pick one person who I think he's really looked out for, I would have to say Cam Kirkham.
Oh yeah.
Like he has been almost like a
He took
guardian
Cam under
angel
his
for
wing,
Cam. And he's really good mates with the Sidemen. He's mates with Alfie Daves and Jack mate. Like
Yeah, he just knows everyone.
And
obviously, he's very good mates with Alfie Days. Therefore, he's probably relatively good mates with Zoella, Thatcher Joe, Casper Lee, that crowd. You know, what's his name? Jack Maynard.
Yeah.
Those guys, he knows them. He does know them. I know for a fact that he knows them.
He's made videos with Josh Peters and.
So he knows that whole group, and then he knows the Sidemen. He knows the Sidemen's friends. That group.
He knows Will, and then through that he knows George, Alex.
He knows every big British YouTuber you can think of.
Yeah.
They all are linked with True Geordie.
He basically
He's like the kingpin of YouTube friendships.
At this point he is basically what I think of when I think of the UK YouTube scene. Like not only because he's basically carrying it at this point, but he's like the all watching, all knowing being of the UK YouTube scene.
Yeah, like I have so much respect for him.
Oh, I do as well.
Anyway,
back on. Yeah, so with KSI-Logan, what I was saying there is like when I heard the whole it's going to be World Championship Boxing, my enthusiasm to buy it was
severely lessened.
Yeah. Now, I'm still hyped for it because I enjoyed the first fight and I want to see who's actually the better man. But
yeah,
I'm not the biggest.
I mean,
I'm not the biggest fan of buying it for the boxing and sitting through the 4 hours of boxing to get to the fight that I actually kind of care about.
Yeah.
And I know that that's probably what Eddie Hearn is thinking. Because either way, if I buy the pay-per-view to watch KSI-Logan Paul, but I don't...
He already gets the money.
He gets the money.
The money's already gone.
If someone who's a boxing fan has no intention in the world of watching KSI versus Logan Paul, he can turn on, watch his boxing, and turn it off then. Eddie Hearn still gets his money.
Yeah.
So it's smart on his part from a business standpoint.
But it's not good for fans of YouTube especially, because if you're a fan of boxing, you can watch the whole thing because it's all boxing, but it's not all YouTube. But I think that you only think now that you're saying basically the only fight you're going to watch if you do buy it is KSI-Logan.
Yeah.
I bet by the time the fight comes around, there'll be so much media attention to the undercards. Well, there will be videos on probably KSI and Logan Paul's channel about the the undercard guys, and
Oh yeah, like JJ will make some big video hyping up the undercard or something.
yeah, and a lot of people now who think, oh no, fuck that, I'm only going to watch KSI-Logan, they will become interested in the other fights.
Yeah.
So it is a very good way of getting people who are only fans of YouTube to become fans of boxing.
Yeah, I'll see as time progresses whether or not I choose to buy it. If I do buy it, you can expect a Bad Friends podcast where we discuss it.
Yep. Connor's already promised me that I can watch it with him.
Yeah, now usually at this point we have covered 3 topics. So around this point I would suggest that we would check our emails. However, this week we have received
A grand total
of 0 emails. So
come on, lads.
guys,
Come on,
please,
lads.
Please. So
okay, this is a little story. During the week, the same guy who asked me the question about the surprise asked me about emails, and he told me about, because he knows the people who usually send in the emails. And I said to him, some of the emails are fairly shit. Some of the emails we get, I mean, send in any email you want. It might not get onto the podcast. And me calling it shit, I don't have anything against these people. Thank you. I very much appreciate these people who send in emails.
yeah.
Because they do give us a lot of free content. We have to do 0 work for this content. But all I'm saying is, sometimes the emails aren't great. Because it's either a story that's long and it's not very well told, or it's a question that's
hard to answer.
either too personal to answer, or like, I don't know. All I'm saying is, sometimes we get questions that aren't good.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the questions we get are great. They're fine. Nice, open question. Nice, get a nice debate out of it. It's fine. Every email that we get and we read out in the podcast, we never have to ask ourselves, oh, should we do this? Because they're usually good.
Yeah.
But the odd time, we read them before we start recording, and we're like, okay, which ones will we do and which ones won't we do? We usually just do all of them, because they're, A, we don't get that many, so they're easy to choose from, and B, they're usually all good. But like, me calling someone's email shit does not mean that person should take huge offense against me and hate the podcast because we didn't like their email. So I know this seems like I'm giving out. I'm not. We have enough content without the emails, but I just think that the emails are a nice way to connect with the people who listen.
Yeah.
Because it's like the same. When someone puts up that thing on their Instagram story where they're like, ask me a question.
Yeah.
And then you ask them, and then they put it on your story, and you're like, oh my god, they listened to my question. Especially when it's someone that you don't really talk to. It's that kind of feeling. I sent in an email, and they reacted to it. So just like, I don't know, send in some emails, guys.
Link in the description.
Yeah. Also, speaking of things that are dead and empty, our Discord server it's fairly empty. How many people are in the server? Like 6, 10? 10 people in the server. The only people who ever send any messages in are me and Connor. Pretty much. We're the only two. So, like, not everyone has Discord. Most people don't have Discord. If you have Discord and you'd like to join the server, do. It's quiet. It's a quiet server, so you won't be bombarded with fucking messages every day.
But you can.
But you can help us, and you can give us feedback, and you can recommend, if you want us to try out a new segment to the podcast. It's just it's a very easy way, because we check the Discord a lot more than we check our emails, because we only check the emails right before we start recording.
And in our podcast Discord, we have. I'm just gonna divide this up now. We have our general area where you can just talk to the. I know it's not that big a community that we've built up here, but it's nice. I like this small.
It is nice. It's like a cozy little place where we can just
speak our mind,
chill and chat, and
and you can just speak to the other people who are in the server. Life advice and questions. So this is where essentially our backup email. So if you don't really want to send us an email, or if you just think of something on the fly and you want to send it quickly without having to go through and type out our email and all that jazz, you can just go in and send something in there. Our topics one, where if you have any, like, this is probably the best one.
This is definitely the most active one, because before every podcast, me and Connor send in a screenshot of our notes on our phones where we have all our topics for the week.
Yeah.
So whoever's in the Discord can see what we're going to talk about. They know what to expect in the episode. They know what the debate will be about. They can also, anyone's free to send in a topic. We might not talk about it, but we will mention it.
And we'll take it into consideration.
We do appreciate them whenever it happens.
We have our own little meme channel if you guys want to send in memes.
That's just kind of for taking the piss.
Yeah.
And we also have a voice channel for general use.
Yeah.
So we have two voice channels. One of them is where we record the podcast, which is the one we're using right now. That's only me and Connor. And if we're going to have a guest on the podcast, they go in they temporarily are allowed to go in.
Yeah.
So that's just for recording. Then we have a general one where anyone can join in. Anyone can have a chat with us or each other. It's just it makes it more personal. And makes it more human.
And we also have our announcement thing. So obviously, we have our Twitter. If you guys want to follow that, the link's also in the description. But we will also be putting any major announcements. We haven't put anything up since July, but it's because that's when Tomas has gone on holiday. So I had to use that just to say that there would be substitute episodes. So obviously you guys, we'll update you guys if there's any problems with the podcast, if it corrupts again, because I know not all of you have Twitter either, and we know a lot of you have Discord, but if you have one or the other, it's basically the same thing.
And if you're in the server, it is kind of like people in the server, we trust them. We trust them to help us run the podcast.
Yep.
Because it's me and Connor, who, Connor records and edits and posts, and I host kind of when I'm in the mood. So it's kind of, it's our, I don't know. So it's us who do the podcast, but it's your podcast, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep everything to ourselves, We do like telling you what's going to be happening. We do keep the odd secret. We have a couple of things on the slow burner at the moment that we're not gonna tell you for a while, until they're confirmed. And it is nice to be able to tell people, here's what's going to happen, here's what should happen. If it doesn't happen, tell us. If there's something wrong with audio, tell us. These are these are the people who save the podcast if it goes wrong.
Yeah.
So, join, don't join. It is nice.
Up to you, but
it is nice. It's a nice place to chill out. Thank you, anyways, if you do join.
What was our final topic here? We're going to cover it. It was one of mine. It was a minimal thing anyway, but
Yeah. And do you want to cover it?
I'll just briefly skim over it. So, a lot of celebrities that I've seen this week, the only one who can actually come to my mind is Robert Downey Jr., but there have been a lot of celebrities who have had their Instagrams hacked, and the people who have hacked them have updated their stories or their bios to have free iPhone X, or it's like Tesla giveaway was one of the Robert Downey Jr. ones, and their links that would come up that would be for a scam, and obviously they were none the wiser, because I'm assuming that these people don't go into their own Instagram and check their own account all the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Robert Downey Jr. most of the time isn't in charge of his own Instagram.
Yep.
I'm sure he has someone who does his Instagram posts for him. I know that he does use his own Twitter, and he uses it very rarely. I was actually followed him on Twitter today because I saw, I don't know, someone liked a tweet from him. He did post about it on his Twitter. He said, it was, he didn't go into any detail. He was like, unfortunately, my Instagram has been compromised. Stay away from it.
Until this can confirm it's been resolved.
Yeah. But, like, how do people still fall for these scams, man? It's such a boomer thing.
I know.
It's either young children or boomers that fall for these scams.
Yeah. It's
I'm assuming more young people follow Robert Downey Jr. on Instagram than boomers. But even like those pop-up ads that you used to get, you don't see them anymore because they've all been eradicated because the internet has evolved since 2010. But do you ever get that one when you were younger and you're on your parents' laptop and you're on Google and it was like, click the iPhone to win, and it was like a roulette wheel, and you have to let it spin, and whenever you clicked, it would land on the iPhone because that's how they get people to win the game. And then it would be like, just put in your address and your billing, put in your billing address and the last 3 numbers on your credit card, and you're like, nice. I never did it. I did. Actually, I don't want to talk about that. I have, at one point in my life, lost a lot of money, but it's fine. It's all... We got all the money back. It's okay. I'm not going to talk about it because I was told by a member of my family that I shouldn't talk about it. So I'm not going to. It's not like a gambling addiction or anything like that. It's fine. But, like, it's just... idiots. People need to be educated on how to use the internet, and they're not. It should be a class in schools how to safely use the internet. But the furthest we've gotten is parent-teacher meetings where they're like, oh, don't follow strangers on Facebook.
Really?
I don't know. I could not name 10 people who regularly post on Facebook. I haven't posted on Facebook since Christmas last year. Like Christmas 2017.
I think, to be honest, I think the only people I know who post regularly on Facebook are my parents and their friends.
Yeah, literally, it's all like that generation.
Yeah.
It's like boomers and the generation and like the people who are like 5 years younger.
I had so yeah, you said you haven't like posted anything since like 2017. What's funny is
you only made your Facebook account like
I made my Facebook
like a year ago, like Christmas time,
a few months ago, just so I could like use Messenger, and then I haven't used Messenger since. But I just find it so weird that so you've mentioned obviously the Facebook's been dead for like 2 years for people our age, but I was listening to the radio while I was going to school, and I overheard the whole speech. They were talking about like Facebook and things, and they were like, "Oh, Well, I was like some Facebook data thing, like scandal again, and it was like, oh, well, they were like, oh yeah, do you use Facebook a lot? To you on that read out the news, and she goes, no, it's kind of dead now. No one uses Facebook. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah, no one really uses Facebook anymore. I was like, oh, so what do they use now? Snapchat? And I was like, no, Snapchat's kind of dying now. And I was like, so what's it now? Insta? And she was like, yeah. You could tell that the other girl is younger. And then it's like...
Yeah, the girl is obviously like 20 to 30.
Yeah, and then
And
someone
the guy is probably... Was it Joe Duffy?
No.
That sounds like the sort of thing Joe Duffy would say.
And the guy that was hosting the show with him just goes, when are they going to shorten it to Inst? Like, Jesus Christ.
I hate when... Oh, just shut the fuck up, like... Radio people are not funny. Maybe one or two of them are funny. I should probably say it. I know a radio host pretty well.
You're
Connor knows him. He's funny. He's not listening. He's pretty funny. But, you know, he does have that... They all have that sort of thing where they're like, oh, I'm going to say this, and all these young people will think I'm funny. Every single one I've heard that is over the age of like 35, they're all like that. And then the younger ones are like the ones that are actually funny.
Yeah. Right. When are they going to shorten it to Inst? Are you kidding me?
Never. Because it doesn't make sense. They haven't shortened it to Insta. It's just what people call it. Anyways, I think that's it for this week because it's 11:30. No, it's not. It's 10:25. And I don't know. I'm probably gonna eat some food.
I'm going to edit this podcast.
Anyways, thanks very much for listening. I enjoyed this episode. I thought this was a good episode.
Yeah.
I feel like when we don't do an episode for a week and then when we come back, that episode's always better. But that doesn't mean that we're just going to do one every 2 weeks because that would eventually become bad as well. We are going to try and keep up with one a week, but, you know, as Connor said earlier, if it doesn't happen, it's probably to do with school. Sorry. Anyways, thanks for listening to episode 15 of the Bad Friends Podcast. Subscribe if you're not. As we said, join the Discord, send us an email. Our Twitters are in the description. Connor, someone said to me during the week that your YouTube channel isn't in the description, and fucking why not? Connor's YouTube channel will be in the description, or we'll tweet it. Connor's YouTube channel is in the bio of his Twitter.
Yeah.
Which is in the description.
Yeah.
So,
about it.
Anyways, thanks very much for listening, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Bye-bye.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Cooking up dope in the park pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger. Call up the gang and they come and get gang. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. All set. Records on records, got backers on backers, I'm riding around in a coupe. I take your foot right from you, bitch, I'm a dog. Beat the whole walls, hop in the fall. I tell that nigga come for me. I swear these niggas is under me. They hate in the devil keep jumping me. Back rows on me, keep me company. Hey, we did the most, yeah. Pull up and goes, yeah. My diamonds a choker, holding up out with no holes. Read the ruler, diamond cooler. Just a roller, not a mule. Dabbing on them like the usual. Magic with the brick do voodoo. Go inside with a bad bitch, then I send the bitch to Uber. I'm young and rich and plus I'm bullshit. I'm stupid so I keep the oozing. He's on records, get packets on packets, so my money making my back. You niggas got a low accurate. We from the north, yeah, that way. That cookie blunt in the ashtray. You bitches just national smash tray. Hop in the lamp, have a drag race. I let them birds take a bath. Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Cooking up dope in the park pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody. they grip the trigger. Right, call up the gang and they come and get gang. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. Oh, dropping money out of space. Kid, good drink, introduce me to your bitch's wife, and we know she slutty. Broke a brick down, nutty, buddy, nutty, nigga, nutty. Don't move too fast, I might shoot you. Drink a bad bougie. I'm always hanging with shooters. Might be posted somewhere secluded. Still be playing with pots and pans. Call me Quavo Ratatouille. Run with that shit, call me Boobies. When I'm on stage, show me boobies. Ice on my neck on the coolest. How about the suicide with the ooze? I pull up, I hop out with all of the doors and the good luck. I'm cooking, I'm cooking, I'm whipping into it, rock up, let it lock up. I give her 10 racks, I told her go shopping and spend it all at the pop-up. These bitches, they fucking so digging, they bustin' for Instagram, get your clout up. Yeah, that way, yeah. Float on the track like a Segway. Yeah, that way. I used to trap out of subway. Yeah, that way. Young nigga trap with the AK. Yeah, that way. Big Dyko, get it dope, Macy, Gray. Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, dot. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger. I call up the gang and they come and get gang. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas is savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too.
Yeah. She back to the bone. Wait. These niggas watching, I swear to God, they be my clothes. Switching my hoes like my flows. Switching my flows like my clothes. She was shooting that gun, no reload.